I'm intrigued by him because the projections are always higher on him than I am, and they are again this year. And I'm particularly curious about what your power projection for Fernando Tatis Jr. is, because he obviously had the monster year in 2021, 42 homers, 25 steals, 282 average. But he's hasn't topped 25 homers since 2021 in these auctions that are specifically like, I'm building this Herrera plan. And because the projections are really juicy. It's just how long until he's behind the plate. All right, so here's a really potentially very quick one for you, Phil. I know you're a guy who's drafted Fernando Tatis Jr. before, certainly more recently than I have, and I'm intrigued by him because the projections are always higher on him than I am, and they are again this year. And I'm particularly curious about what your power projection for Fernando Tatis Jr. is, because he obviously had the monster year in 2021, 42 homers, 25 steals, 282 average. But hasn't topped 25 homers since 2021, and every projection system has him for pretty much well north of 25. I guess Zips has him at 26, the Bat has him at 27, but Oopsie has him at 31, ATC has him at 29. Curious how many homers you think you're projecting Fernando Tatis to hit in 2026.
So I have him at 30 home runs, which is in 626 plate appearances, which is basically what Steamer has. But you're making a compelling case against him. I was just looking quickly at what I had him projected. So if I just use ignore all the context, if I just look at what he did last year, batted ball profile, EV, max EV, pull percentage, all that stuff, he would be at 26 home runs. So for 626. So the extra 4 are because of what he's done in the past. I'm still drafting him this year. Think at the back end of the first round, him and Lindor are the safe picks, kind of veteran picks where you kind of have a decent idea of what you're getting, especially Lindor. Tatis, seems to be a little more injury risk, but he had 2 full seasons in the last 3. So I just think with Tatis, I think by the time he's 30, I think he has another 40 home run season in him. I don't know when it's going to be, but it just feels like he's still only is going to be 27. And I don't think in the late first round, if you're getting a 25, 270 guy, it's still a decent pick. But I just think at one point he's going to get 40 again. I don't know if it's going to be this year, next year, 3 years from now, but just feels like there's something else there. That big Tatis season where everything comes together and he has a monster season. So I seem to be gravitating towards him a lot late first round because I don't love most of the young guys back there. So hopefully this is the year.
Yeah, I don't like picking back there.
Yeah,
I really don't, especially in DCs, because I think it's just so much easier to build the type of roster I want to build, picking 5th overall or whatever.
Yeah,
the DC.
I think in DCs, the early picks are almost kind of a little cheat code right now, where you get an elite hitter in the first round, you get elite close in the second round, and SB1 in the third round. I think every time I've drafted in the first 3 or 4 picks, I've gotten somewhere a mix of Ohtani paired with either Smith Duran, Munoz, Miller, Diaz, and then either Sale, Sanchez, any one of those guys. It just feels like a perfectly balanced combo to start.
Yep, you're guaranteed a 5-category hitter, an ace, and a ace closer if you're picking near the top, but you're not guaranteed all three of those things if you're picking near the bottom. All right, so Phil, without knowing the rest of your roster, who would you rather take in a snake draft, Wyatt Langford or Brent Rooker?
It's Brent Rooker, and it is close. And I think this might sound strange to say, but I think he might have higher upside than Langford. His K rate the last 3 years got it down from 32.7 when he had his huge breakout season down to 28.8 and down to 22.2 last year. Over the last, 4 years, 4 or 5 years, some of the biggest fantasy seasons have come like in that round 4 to 10 range from power first guys. Like Judge a few years ago, Schwarber's been there, Adelson 2023, Vlad in 2021 played in Buffalo and Dunedin, but he still had his huge season going, I think, late 3rd, 4th round, something like that. And I think Rooker kind of fits that profile, where the power hasn't been quite as good the last couple of years. Wasn't last year wasn't quite as good. But he just became a better hitter, cut down the K rate. And I think he can go back to what he did in 2024 playing in that park. It's a stretch, but he has what it takes to hit 50 home runs. Just has to put everything together. And Langford's a very good player. Has 2 good seasons. We haven't seen that big season from him. Obviously has the speed, so has a path there. But there's just something about Rooker's profile. And I forgot Cal Raleigh in that range as a catcher. But again, that power first profile who just has that monster 40, 50 home run season. I think Rooker can do that from that range.
Yeah, I didn't come to as kind of macro of an analogy as you did there with the historical round by round type of thing, but I kind of noticed the same thing with just like every projection system basically thinks Rooker's going a round later than he should go. But I think people just keep passing on him because he just doesn't cut the mold of like a typical early round hitter pick, which is probably that same trap that people fell into with those past examples you cited of just like, why am I using my 3rd or 4th round pick on this guy who's not going to steal 20 bases or hit close to 300 or like be my ace or be my closer. And so people just pass on him, and then he goes like a round later than he should.
And I think he's probably kind of the guy who, the way you describe him, who's going to fall probably around compared to where he's going right now when we get to main events and pitching gets pushed up. Just kind of the guy that ends up falling because, like you said, just doesn't really provide much other than power. But we've seen, like I said, just that power, that huge home run season changes everything.
Right. You get a guy hitting like 15, 20 more homers than you were banking on. That just is like a massive thing that, and it, of course, it lifts you in multiple stats, obviously. And then Langford, I think, like, I'm really worried because I don't have any Langford, and I'm just not sure how I'm going to get any Langford based on where he's going and the other stuff I need to get on my team. But I do think there's a chance he goes 30-30 this year. But it's just, you got to give something to get something.